Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well, you beautiful, beautiful people, and you've made it. You've made it to my second video of the day, because this is indeed video 2 of 2. So if you've only or not seen any others after this, go and find the other one. Thank you. So, playing devil's advocate. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? I hear you cry. Now, I was watching a video by Southern Logic. Got your name right first time. See? I can do it. And look, he was talking specifically about the way in which people were feeling about the Bryan Kohberger situation. And that many people had got this guy banged to rights already. And people that couldn't understand that currently he has not been proven guilty of anything. And in fact, it would take just one thing that comes out, that is said, that could prove that he couldn't do it, to make every single other piece of information out there right now pointless, worthless, nothing. And in fact, raise a lot of questions as to how some of it came about. People struggle with that. People struggle with it. Now, I'll say it and I'll say it again. For the 5th time, there is someone who has apparent exculpatory evidence. Now, is this person going to tell the truth? Now, I've already seen the subpoena get squashed. It's done with. They've agreed to do something different to cater for her. And that is something in itself that you wouldn't normally see. So we're already seeing things out of the realms of normality happen in this case. And that is one of a long list of things. And in addition to this, we also see many people who are saying that Bryan Kohberger is guilty. And when you challenge them and say, okay, I appreciate your thoughts, which I do. If you think that this guy is guilty and he did this all on his own with no other influence and factors, I get it. And I'm not saying you're wrong. What I am saying is there is an alternative. And that is that he was either not involved in it whatsoever, nothing to do with it. I mean the action itself. Or that he was just part of a bigger machine. He was involved, but there was more to it. There was more moving pieces. And at this present point in time, those two variations of this case cannot and should not be ignored. And I get that people get bent up out of shape and they could accuse you of being a supporter of Bryan Kohberger, yada, yada, yada. It's not about supporting Bryan Kohberger at all. It's about looking at everything. It's standing back, looking in at every single thing that we know, every single thing that we've been told, and every single thing that has been influenced by media on here, supposed media, that have pushed specific narratives and pushed certain things in certain directions. And not just the media, but people who are just simply not supporters of Bryan Kohberger and more in support of the fact that he did this and he should be punished for it. And the influence that those narratives are having upon people. Now, on this channel, we don't push specific narratives. We try and get people to remain open-minded, to understand that there are situations and scenarios that you may not wish to consider, but you should consider because they exist. This is a world where we see the strangest things happen. Things happen every day that make you go, what? So to think that Bryan Kohberger could indeed be involved in a bigger machine, or simply not be involved in it, but involved in a situation whereby a college, a university, was hell-bent on getting this covered up and pushed under the carpet, under the rug, and working alongside law enforcement to do so because of the monetary impact that would have on them if they did not do so, you cannot say that this is completely out of the realms of possibility, because it happens. Companies lie. Law enforcement lie. and they can lie if there is a benefit to them. Now, could we just be conspiracy theorists? Is this just one big conspiracy theory? For us to even consider such a thing, are we in the wrong? Well, let me challenge some of the things that have been utilised as leverage towards saying Bryan Kohberger is guilty of this crime. So somebody, I spoke to them not that long ago, and they were talking about, well, he cleaned that car. He cleaned it. And the fact that he cleaned his car out proves that he was trying to hide evidence. How does it? How does Bryan Kohberger cleaning out his car, vacuuming out his car, after a long journey back from Washington to home at the end of a semester, point to him being a killer? The only time that points to him being a killer is when he is being considered as being a killer. Then an action that I even myself do frequently then is considered part of his cover-up. It's part of him trying to cover up his tracks. Is that right? Is it right? We hear about the eyewitness that places supposedly Bryan in this property. But on the grander scheme of things, did this person see a picture of Bryan Kohberger and says, yes, that is who was in the house that night? No, they didn't. They said a person was dressed in black, of athletic build, if you like, had a mask on, they had bushy eyebrows, which pretty much would sum up any single person who would have entered that house on that night to do that crime. Nobody would have been going into that property, I imagine, wearing a Bart Simpson t-shirt and a neon sign above their head displaying their name. But there are issues with this little element of what was said. Because, look, we have a situation where what was found, there was a knife sheath found. So the question is, so where was that weapon after the event? Was the person carrying it when they left? Did they put an unsheathed knife into their pocket? Did they go to sheath the knife and think, oh, I can't put that in my pocket. Where's the sheath? I'm going to leave it anyway. Who knows? But the fact that this sheath was left behind, and the fact that the person who witnessed the person leaving could give you details up until their bushy eyebrows, but couldn't tell you whether they had quite a large weapon in their hand, is questionable. It is questionable. Now, could it have just been missed? Could it have been somewhere else? Of course it could. But the person must have took it out of the property. So they either put it in their pocket or they had it in their hand. That's pretty much it. Also, the fact that nothing seemingly was dragged out of that house by the perpetrator. Nothing was took out of there at all. There was no evidence externally to that property. And how important is that? Well, what I'm putting to you is that it would appear that whoever did this crime, to some degree, must have cleaned themselves. They must have washed up and got evidence off them in order to not drag it out into the street. And I would put it to you that if they didn't find any evidence in Bryan Kohberger's car, now we don't know that they haven't, but I'm saying if they didn't find anything in his car, how did they not? Because I don't think that Bryan Kohberger would have been able to have cleaned his car to an extent where he would have been able to eradicate what he would have dragged from the house into the car had he have not had time to clean. And with the time frame that we are given that this took place, I'm telling you, he would not have had time to do the entire crime, find identifications, if indeed we're believing that he also found IDs and took them with him and took them over to his parents' home. Now, could he have had these IDs at an earlier stage? Yes, he could, but I think the grander scheme of things are people turning around and saying, look, he took this as a prize. It was a trophy of what he did. That's what's being pushed online. That's the online narrative. Again, unproven. It's not even proven that this identification belonged to a victim, but in some people's eyes, it belongs to a victim for some reason. Now, is it not in the realms of possibilities that in order to secure a conviction swiftly and take the pressure off of law enforcement and the college at a time that was fundamental to them taking new students in and preventing an issue with their income and therefore affecting the place in general, that they could have perhaps planted a sheath, planted identification? Is that truly completely out of the realms of possibility? And I'll put you over to the Alec Murdoch case and the Stephen Smith situation and what we've heard about their tyrannical reign on South Carolina in terms of the law for many, many years. And that is just one family. We're talking about a business, a school, a college, a university that controls an entire area. They are the bricks and mortar of that place. Now, Bryan Kohberger, when he was arrested, he alluded to the fact that, is there someone else? Is there someone else involved? Was there someone else arrested? Why would you do that? Now, some people have turned round and said, oh, he just done it. It was a game. It was a game. Sure? Are you 100% sure? Would you like to bet your life on it that he said that as part of a game? Or was that a knee-jerk reaction to the situation that he found himself in? You can't convict someone unless you can prove beyond reasonable doubt that they did the crime. But too many people already have him pinned as the person who did this, a lone killer, done this heinous crime, but they're basing that on weak or even false information. And it's wrong. He needs to have his day in court. He needs to go through due process, and I repeat this time and time again. I know it frustrates some people, but it also frustrates me. I get countless emails, countless comments saying, how can you say that Bryan did not do this when he did this or when they found this? And I'm thinking to myself, how do you say that I'm in the wrong for considering that he could potentially be innocent of this crime, or there is more to this crime, and you're basing me being wrong on information that you yourself have got from the likes of News Nation that is seemingly untrue? I asked this question before, and I'll ask it again. If you are 100% convinced that Bryan Kohberger did this crime, he did it on his own, there was no other influences, he just did it, he's a monster, and he deserves whatever's coming to him, I want you to put your money where your mouth is. Let me know down below the singular element of what you know, which you know to be fact, has brought you to that conclusion. And all I'm asking people to do is just consider the options and think whether there is any other alternative to this. Is there really no other option but this guy just did this crime? The confusion with the car, the Hyundai Elantra, the DoorDash delivery, the phone pings that he only lived 10 miles away from this place, and phone towers can ping up to 20 miles. So it doesn't tell you where he was. Just tells you he was in the vicinity of the tower. To turn his phone off, people say, well, why turn your phone off then? Why turn it off? Why take your phone? If you're leaving the house in order to commit this heinous crime, why take your phone in the first place? That's more of the argument. Why take it? Unless you're going to need it for some reason when you leave the property. either to communicate with somebody, as I doubt he was using it for sat-nav, so he didn't need it. So if you didn't need it and he knew he would have to turn it off, why take it? Why not leave it at home and use it to support you being at home? Why drive your own car? Why drive your own car right up to the damn house? If someone's dressed in black and they're all clad in black and it's the early hours of the morning, why not park the car a mile down the road and walk? Why drive right up to the damn house? Is Bryan Kohberger truly this stupid? Now, I put it to you that in terms of his work around the sales, the people who taught him, they have exemplary things to say about him. He was one of the best students, one of only 2 students put forward for a PhD. This is not an idiot. This is not a stupid person. But I have a feeling if people are not careful, he's going to make them look stupid. And I have a huge concern. And the huge concern is there someone else out there who did do this crime? Or is there someone else out there who was involved in what happened? Let me know down below. And I'll catch you all in the next one.
What's up, Harsh fam? We just launched our new nonprofit organization, United Search Corps, where we're going to be advocating for the missing and families of the missing as well. And we need your help to spread awareness for our mission and also our fundraiser. There's a lot of equipment and necessary things that we need for this to be possible. So please take a second and share our fundraiser. For more information, please check out our website, unitedsearchcorps.org. Go over to my YouTube channel and check out our announcement video as well. The links will be in the description below. Thank each and every one of you for your time and consideration. Thank you.